Chapter 13 Farm Days. A couple of weeks had gone by since Graham and Bouncer had returned to the farm. Life had been slow but steady ever since, just the way they liked it after what had seemed like months of constant dangers and risks. Neither was sure whether Farmer had kept their lives simple on purpose or there just wasn't that much fast-paced activity in the valley. Either way they were happy, and that's really all that mattered. Today was Saturday, not a normally busy day, but hardly a break either. Farm life was nothing like an office job in terms of start, finish and weekends. There was always something to do, especially when sheep were involved. They seemed to gravitate to dangerous situations like moths to a light bulb. One particularly dangerous sheep was Flossie. She had been like this since a lamb. She had been born as part of a triplet, and the mother ewe hadn't had enough milk to feed her, so Farmer and Mrs. Farmer had stepped in and bottle-fed her. This high level of human contact had the unintentional effect of making her very smart, cunning even. Normally sheep are notorious for being stupid creatures, or at least appearing that way. Whether they are in fact criminal masterminds is a good question, and one Farmer had spent an eternity over the years asking himself, as he repeatedly cursed one or more of them from situations they had got themselves into but seemed unable to get themselves out of. They always just looked at him, rarely getting flustered, just looking at him as if they were assessing his performance, rather than him assessing their stupidity. Just like the cliché, Flossie was able to lead the entire flock, like a sheep-pied piper, just whiter and woollier, and just like the rats they followed her almost blindly. This frequently meant that whenever there was a sheep problem it was almost always a big problem, as all the sheep would inevitably be involved. Was this military precision or blind stupidity? It was yet another question for a warm cup of tea on a cold day. Today's, Saturday special, was similar to any other in that the sheep, or more precisely Flossie, had chosen what could be considered to be a day off to create a problem. The problem included every sheep on the farm, and the problem would be located at almost the furthest point of the farm. "Graham, Bouncer, we have to get to the top paddock ASAP!" shouted Farmer as he swung the door to Graham and Bouncer's shed wide open. Graham was in human form and toiling at a workbench crowded with an assortment of electronics items, oscilloscopes, power supply, wires, soldering iron, etc., on something that Farmer barely recognized, but he guessed was a computer of some sort. As he continued into the shed he repeated himself. "Graham, Bouncer, we have to get to the sheep, they're in trouble again." "What's up, Farmer?" asked Bouncer. "I bet you Flossie has been leading them astray again. I am positive she's actually an evil genius who just likes to make me do her bidding," said Farmer as much to himself as anyone else. "Don't be silly, Farmer, she's just a sheep," replied Graham as he shifted into vehicle form, rolled over to Farmer, and popped his passenger door open. "I can't believe you just said that, Graham, you know how crafty she is," replied Farmer. "Hop in, we'll be up there in a jiffy and sort them out. Come on, Bouncer, you can lead the way." "Defo, Graham," said Bouncer as he tore out of the shed across the yard and started up the track. Somewhere over the horizon, but closing fast, Deli was zooming in on the farm. He had found his nexus point, but needed a hand to fix it. Outside of the Guardians he trusted only Graham and Bouncer. He just hoped they would be able to help.